G'day guys, Dylan from the Beta Network here. Today we're going to take a look at a side-scrolling action RPG with some light strategy elements. So buckle up and prepare your exemplars as we answer the question, should you play Fallen Legion Revenants? Fallen Legion Revenants, created by developer Yummy Yummy Tummy Inc., starts by introducing you to one of the main characters, Rowena. She used to be the Chancellor of Welkin Castle until she was executed by Ivor for treason. However, her iron will to save her son keeps her tied to the world as a Revenant. You are then introduced to the other main character, Lucian. He is a crafty politician and steward who's planning a coup to overthrow the tyrant Ivor. Over the course of the game, Rowena and Lucian work together to try and take down the powerful warden of Welkin Castle. From the very beginning, Fallen Legion Revenants really draws you in with its intriguing playstyle and RPG elements, like learning about the different exemplars you can play as, investigating the castle, which acts as your hub-like area, studying the different Arceus and Master abilities, and analysing the various enemies you'll face in battle. However, after this initial intrigue starts to wear off, the proceedings take a sudden, drastic turn for the worse. Let's begin with the gameplay. Even though I found it interesting at first, the formula stays the exact same 13 hours in. It doesn't evolve or build. Very early on, it became apparent that you can play by either systematically using your exemplars to continuously take out the enemy, or you can just sit there with your thumb over the 3 attack buttons and literally button mash your way through. There are no bad consequences. This takes a lot of the enjoyment out of Fallen Legion Revenants, as there are absolutely no penalties whatsoever. Yes, you can use different exemplars to exploit weaknesses, but when you spam the attack buttons, you can just casually cast a healing spell with Rowena, depleting one of her 4 mana bars. Since it's so easy to earn mana back, you can consistently button mash, then quickly heal when the party's in danger, and you'll hardly ever fully deplete the mana bar. On the other hand, the boss battles are okay. Some bosses are just stronger versions of normal enemies. However, there are a couple that actually test you out a little more than usual. Like this whale, which was an absolute pain in the... well, never mind. This boss fight is initially one of the harder ones early on, until you find out exactly what you need to do. And once you eventually work it out, you'll end up smacking yourself in the head for how easy the boss really is. If you've been enjoying this video so far, please like and share the video and hit that subscribe button, as well as the bell icon next to it, then press all. Each subscription really helps to grow our channel, meaning we can bring out more videos just like this every week. Thanks for your support. The other part of the gameplay involves controlling Lucian in the castle, either in between battles or sometimes even halfway through them. In between battles, the castle acts kind of like a hub area. I liked the thought behind this, especially with the Oracle you can talk to, who lets you change settings, go back in time, and even save the game. Although again, like the rest of the game, the hub itself is quite minimal. There are only 4 rooms: the main hall, library, chapel, and warehouse. Each area has a couple of NPCs to interact with, except I honestly wouldn't suggest continuously talking to them, as they just have the exact same dialogue every single time you speak with them until the chapter changes. The one interesting aspect of the gameplay is how well they join these 2 different parts. Halfway through battles, you are regularly taken back to Lucian in the castle to investigate for information, convince other people to vote with you, or to do something sly and sneaky. This in turn can impact not only what happens to Lucian later on in the story, but also how Rowena fares too. Not to mention that it is sometimes deceptively hard to complete everything needed within the time allotted. To be frank, this part of the gameplay is surprisingly pretty good. At the same time, because of how much Fallen Legion Revenants is centered on combat and how easy it is to win, there's hardly any drive left from the player to delve deeper into the complexity of its mechanics. Plus, because of the repeated dialogue, the only options Lucian has in the castle are to change your Arceus or your Master ability and to then continue on to the next battle. This means that most of the gameplay is just hours of pointless button mashing. Now, in regards to the narrative, the story itself is actually alright. It follows Rowena and Lucian quite closely and weaves in between the two of them seamlessly. Also, as mentioned earlier, depending on which decisions you make through the game, this will determine what happens later. It's all done very well and led to me finishing a storyline relatively quickly, meaning I could return to the Oracle and start over to find a new ending. However, that is where the real problem lies. With the way the story works and the way that they have set up the different endings, this ultimately leads the game to lean heavily on the replayability factor in trying to find new endings. Because of this, the experience quickly felt rather redundant. What ends up happening is that the story pushes you to keep replaying and find alternate endings, while the gameplay just stagnates, making it a real slog to get through. That being said, there are two aspects of this title where the developers really showed off their skills: the art style and music. The art style just works for this type of side-scrolling RPG. Even with the still images you get, I thought everything was very well designed. All the characters and exemplars are easy on the eyes, and each character has their own unique look to them. The backgrounds are visually striking and all work in tandem with this Revenant's overall tone, keeping it consistent while also adding slight new details here and there to help spice up the visuals. The music also just spoke to what was happening in the game. Whether you were in the castle or out in the deep dark woods, it did a great job of backing up what you saw, improving the overall atmosphere and further immersing the player in the world of Fallen Legion Revenants. Now look, before you blast me in the comments, I understand that there are some dedicated fans of this franchise. However, when I can casually sit in a chair and win battle after battle without even having to look at the screen, then there is definitely something wrong. Getting through 13 hours of this game was tiresome, with every battle feeling the exact same almost every time. In saying this though, it wasn't a complete dud all around, as there are some redeeming aspects to be found along the way. Just don't hold your breath. So, should you play Fallen Legion Revenants? I'd say yes, but only if you're a fan of the series. I think those who enjoy the Fallen Legion franchise will find this game just as good as the previous ones. The story is well written and the decisions do matter. The art style is on point and the music is catchy. However, for someone who is new to this franchise, I would say a hard no. Although you may find aspects of this title fun and enjoyable, the majority of Revenants is mainly just the button mashy battles, and because of the repetitiveness, it very quickly becomes a major disappointment. What do you guys think of Fallen Legion Revenants? Do you find it too button mashy? Let us know in the comments below. Plus, head on over to our website, thebetanetwork.net. We feature all our videos and publish weekly articles as well as a fortnightly podcast. So why not have a squiz at thebetanetwork.net for gaming news and reviews.